In every family with multiple children, there is usually one child who is different from the others. Not better, not worse, just different, quieter, more inward, less interested in being seen. In the Roloff family, that child is Molly Roloff, the only daughter of Matt and Amy, the second youngest of the four siblings. The Roloff who, somehow, despite growing up on national television with one of the most filmed families in America, managed to walk away from all of it and build a life that almost nobody outside her immediate circle can see. While her brothers Zach and Jeremy fought publicly over the farm, while Jacob spoke out about the trauma of growing up on the show, while Matt and Amy went through one of the most documented divorces in cable history, Molly Roloff did something none of her siblings have been able to do. She vanished. Not into hiding, not into estrangement, just into ordinary American life. She went to college. She got a degree. She moved to a different state. She married her college sweetheart. She bought a house. She built a career. And she did all of it without giving the world the chance to watch. Tonight on LPBW Update, we are walking through the life of Molly Roloff, the quietest member of the Roloff family. Where she came from, who she became, the marriage that has lasted nearly a decade, the career nobody talks about, and why, in 2026, she may be the happiest and healthiest member of the entire Roloff clan. Let us start at the beginning. Molly Jo Roloff was born on September 17, 1983 in Oregon, the same day of the year as her mother Amy, which has always been a sweet detail in the family lore. The two share their birthday. Molly grew up on Roloff Farms in Helvetia, Oregon with her three siblings, twin older brothers Zach and Jeremy, born in 1990, and younger brother Jacob, born in 1997. From the time Molly was a young girl, she stood out from her siblings in important ways. She was of average height, like Jeremy. She did not have dwarfism, but more importantly, she had a temperament that was different from the rest of the Roloff family. She was quieter. She was more studious. She was less interested in being in front of the camera. Even before Little People Big World began filming in 2006, when Molly was around 22 years old, she had already developed an introverted personality that did not naturally lend itself to reality television. When the show started, Molly participated, like the rest of her family. She appeared in episodes. She helped with farm operations. She was part of family meals and family discussions. But she was always, even in those early seasons, the one in the background, the one who said less, the one who walked away first when the cameras lingered. After high school, Molly made a decision that would shape the rest of her life. She left Oregon to go to college in Spokane, Washington, at a small Christian liberal arts school called Whitworth University. The choice was significant. She could have stayed in Oregon. She could have gone to a larger university where her family's reality television fame would have followed her. Instead, she went to a smaller school in a different state, where she could be evaluated on her own merits rather than her family name. At Whitworth, Molly studied accounting and Spanish, an unusual combination that reflected her intellectual range. She was a strong student. She was disciplined. She graduated and went on to build a serious professional career. Today, Molly works as a senior accountant for Nordstrom, one of the largest retail companies in the United States. She has built that career on her own, without any help from her family's fame. Her LinkedIn profile, which is one of the few places her name appears publicly outside of fan-driven content, lists her education and her career achievements with no mention of her television background. She is, in every professional sense, an accountant first and a Roloff second. It was at Whitworth that Molly met Joel Silvius. The two of them attended college together. They dated. They became close. And then, like so many college sweethearts, they stayed together long after graduation. Their relationship lasted more than 10 years before they got married. 10 years of building a life together. 10 years of growing up together. 10 years of figuring out what they wanted from a marriage before committing to one. In December of 2016, just days before Christmas, Joel proposed to Molly. The proposal was quiet, like everything else about their relationship. There was no big televised moment. There was no major media announcement. There was just a private engagement, in keeping with the way Molly had lived her entire adult life. The wedding was set for August of 2017. The wedding itself, while held at Roloff Farms, was deliberately kept private. The TLC cameras were not invited to film it. Only the closest family and friends were present. Molly's father, Matt, walked her down the aisle. The ceremony took place in a secluded, wooded area on the family farm, under 100-year-old oak trees that Molly had played on as a child. Molly wore an off-the-shoulder lace gown and carried a colorful pastel bouquet. Joel wore a slate suit and a printed bow tie. The bride and groom exchanged their vows in a small ceremony attended by family and close friends. They had their first dance to the song "You Are the Best Thing" by Ray LaMontagne. The wedding day even included the family goats, in keeping with the farm setting. Amy posted a photo of the newlyweds on Instagram with a caption that read, "She got married." A beautiful wedding, the most gorgeous bride, tears, laughing, smiles, and a lot of love. Could not be happier for Joel and Molly, my baby girl. Matt shared images of his daddy-daughter dance with the bride. The whole event was warm. It was personal. It was private. And it was exactly what Molly wanted. What is remarkable about Molly's wedding, in retrospect, is what was missing from it: the TLC cameras, the producers, the crew, the whole apparatus of reality television that had been part of every other major Roloff family event for over a decade. Molly explicitly chose to keep her wedding off the show. She did not want her marriage to begin in front of cameras. She did not want her husband to start their life together as a reality television character. She drew a line. And the family, including the production company, respected that line. The result was a wedding that exists, in the public record, only in a handful of photos that Amy and Matt chose to share. The actual ceremony, the actual vows, the actual emotion of the day exist only in the memories of those who were there. That is a kind of privacy that is almost impossible to maintain when you grow up on television, and Molly maintained it. After the wedding, Molly and Joel settled into their life in Spokane, Washington, which is several hours away from Roloff Farms in Oregon. The distance was, in itself, a statement. Spokane is far enough from Hillsborough to make casual visits inconvenient. It is far enough that the Roloff fame does not follow Molly into her daily life. It is far enough that she can be just Molly, just an accountant, just a wife, just a normal woman in a normal community. In April of 2019, Molly and Joel made the next big step in their life together. They bought their first home. Zach Roloff, of all people, was the one who announced the purchase, posting on Instagram, "My little sister Molly and her husband Joel bought a house. Congratulations to them. We had a great time in Spokane this weekend helping them move in." That was, by Roloff standards, a major revelation. Molly herself does not have a public social media presence. Her Instagram, to the extent it exists, is set to private and seems to be limited to family and friends. The fact that we know about her house purchase at all is because her brother shared the news in his own post. Since the wedding, since the move to Spokane, since the home purchase, Molly and Joel have lived a remarkably quiet life. They have not, as of this recording in 2026, publicly announced any children. They may have decided not to have children. They may be still deciding. They may have privacy reasons for not sharing if they do plan to have children. Whatever the case, Molly and Joel have built their life together on their own terms, and they have given the public almost no access to it. We do not know what their day-to-day looks like. We do not know what their hobbies are. We do not know what their friend group looks like. We do not know what they did for Joel's most recent birthday or for their last anniversary. We do not know any of it. And that is precisely how Molly seems to want it. What we do know about Joel Silvius is limited but specific. He attended Whitworth University with Molly. He has appeared in occasional episodes of Little People Big World over the years, particularly during family events that Molly chose to participate in. He works in finance, with various reports indicating positions at eTails Inc. as a financial analyst, although his exact current employment is not public information. He seems by every visible measure to be a steady, kind, and supportive partner. He is willing to be in the background of Molly's family life without trying to make himself the center of attention. He has not done interviews. He has not built his own platform. He has not tried to capitalize on his connection to one of America's most famous reality television families. He has, like Molly, chosen the quiet path. This raises an interesting question. Why did Molly Roloff choose this path? What made her so different from her siblings? Why did she walk away when none of them did? We can only speculate because Molly has not given interviews explaining her choices, but a few observations are worth making. First, Molly is the only daughter in the family. In a family of 3 brothers with 2 parents who were both heavily involved in the show, Molly may have always felt slightly outside of the primary dynamic. She had a different experience of being a Roloff than her brothers did. Second, Molly was an introvert in a family of extroverts. The show was built around the bigger personalities, the louder voices, the more outgoing children. Molly's quieter temperament never naturally lent itself to that environment. Third, Molly went to college in a different state, where she developed her own identity outside the Roloff name. By the time she returned home for visits, she had already built a life that was her own. She had Joel, she had her career, she had her interests. The show was no longer the center of her world. Fourth, Molly may simply have a different value system from her siblings. Faith, privacy, and intentional living are important to her, based on what little she has shared. Reality television fame is not. What is the result of all those choices taken together? The result in 2026 is that Molly Roloff is, by every visible measure, one of the most settled and content members of the entire Roloff family. She has a stable marriage to a man she has known since college. She has a serious professional career at a major American company. She has a quiet home in a quiet city. She has the freedom to come and go from her family's drama as she chooses. She is not entangled in the farm fight. She is not on a podcast having to defend or explain her father. She is not building an influencer brand. She is not selling memoir copies. She is just a woman in her early 40s living a life she designed for herself. And, importantly, she has the option to be more public if she ever wants to. She could come back to television. She could give interviews. She could start her own platform. But she has chosen not to, because by all appearances, she does not need to. Her life is enough as it is. Molly does, occasionally, appear in family photos that her parents or siblings post. When the family gathers for major events, she is sometimes there. She came to her mother Amy's wedding to Chris Merrick in August of 2021. She participated in some of the more recent family gatherings, but she does not stay long in the public eye. She shows up, she is present, and then she goes back to Spokane and disappears again, in the way that has become her trademark. That ability to dip in and out of the public Roloff world on her own terms is something none of her siblings have managed. Zach is on a podcast. Jeremy is an influencer. Jacob has spoken publicly about his childhood. Their lives are, by choice or by necessity, more visible. Molly's is not. And that gives her a kind of freedom that the others may envy quietly, even if they would never say it out loud. There is a lesson in Molly Roloff's story that is worth pulling out explicitly. The lesson is that you do not have to monetize your last name to have a good life. You do not have to capitalize on your family's fame. You do not have to build a brand on top of your inheritance. You can simply walk away. You can choose the ordinary. You can choose private. You can choose the path that does not involve a camera. And you can find on that path a kind of peace that the more public paths do not offer. Molly Roloff has, in her own quiet way, made that choice and lived it for years. And she has shown the rest of the family by example that another path is possible. Whether her siblings will ever fully embrace that path is unclear, but Molly has been walking it for over a decade, and she does not seem to regret a single step. If you are watching this channel, you might be wondering whether Molly will ever come back to the spotlight in any meaningful way. The honest answer is probably not. She has had over a decade to change her mind and has not done so. She has watched her family go through every kind of public crisis and has not been tempted to weigh in. She has built a career that does not require fame. She has a marriage that does not require attention. She has, by every measure, made her decision, and she is sticking with it. We will continue to bring you any updates about Molly that become public, but we will also continue to respect her privacy in the way she has clearly earned it. She is not the reason this family is interesting on a week-to-week basis. She is, in some ways, the reason this family is healthy. She is an example. She is proof that walking away is possible. And she is, quietly, the wisest Roloff in the entire family. So I want to know what you think. Do you admire Molly Roloff's choice to walk away from fame? Or do you wish she would come back to the spotlight and tell her side of the family story? Do you think her marriage to Joel Silvius is one of the strongest in the family? Or are there pieces of their relationship we just do not see because of the privacy? And do you think Molly and Joel will ever have children, or do you think they have chosen a different path? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one and I love hearing from you. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe to LPBW Update, and ring the bell so you do not miss our weekly Roloff family stories. We are committed to bringing you the truth, the timeline, and the full picture, even when the picture includes the family members who choose not to be seen. I will see you on the next one.